Welcome you guys again. I welcome you guys to another training. Welcome you guys to another training. I'm really excited to be here again, as usual. And For today, I will start off with the training, and then we will see if we have some time to look at some of um, the assignments you guys did. So I just want us to do it a little bit different today. We kick off with the training, and then we'll take some time towards the end to look at the assignments. All right, so let me see. What was the last stuff we talked about? So just to recap what we did last time, we discussed about operators. I showed you guys the different types of operators we have. We have the arithmetic operator, the assignment operator, relational operator, logical operator, unary operator, bitwise. And we're able to go through all of them. Some of them you guys are familiar with. You guys have also been using, and others might be quite new. It was interesting to also play around with the. We also saw the logical knots, the logical knot or negation. Uh, the what you call it? This is the incrementers, the complement operator, and the modulo was also very interesting for you guys. I mean, the modulo we had that under, let me see, yeah, the modulo was under arithmetic operators. We had this cool thing where if you want to find the last number uh, of a given number, then you just modulo that by 10. If you do that, you always get the last number of any given set of numbers. So that was quite interesting, and um, yeah, we also saw how to get even numbers and odd numbers, and you guys did pretty well with that. So today we'll be talking about arrays. This is where things start getting interesting. Array is is a collection of similar types of objects or data, and this is a very important training, especially in your software development career. Array is something you probably see in almost all programming languages. So, what is an array? What is an array? Like I mentioned, is a collection of similar types of. Here, this is wrong. I'll just say objects. It could be objects, or it could be anything you're trying to store in a variable. So, anything you can store in a variable, you can store in an array. But the good thing about an array is you can store multiple of those kind of things. So, how do you declare an array? We're going to see it in action. How do you declare an array? It's quite simple. You write the data type in front of it. You put this open and close uh, block bracket or however you call it, and you write the name of the array. The name of the array. This is the variable name of the array. So this is your array here. But what are we talking about? So let's take a look. I'm gonna go right into code, and we see how that looks like. Before we go, let's look at how that looks like. So I'm gonna open my IntelliJ and let's go right into it. So what do we have here? Let's see. Let's go back to our default. Stop for training. So great. So um, remember, an array is a collection of similar type of objects, right? So what if I said I wanted you to store to store 5 names? To store 5 names, I need 5 names of type string. Name is definitely you save that in a string, right? So typically you do something like this. You say string name one. You say this is Darlington, right? Darlington. You enter the semicolon. Uh, Sorry about that. That was something else. And if you press Control D, if you put your mouse on, if you put your cursor on any of the row, you press Control D, it will duplicate that line. So that's a very easy way to copy stuff. So I'll say call this name 2. I'll Control D again. Call this name 3. Control D. Name 4. Control D. Name 5. Now we'll change these names here. We'll say this is say Constance. I'll say God's will. Say if I, and I'll say who else? Obi. So this is typically how you do that, right? And then you do something like this. You say, okay, and I'm like, okay, I want you to print out those names. So you say, okay, I can do that. You say, you do your system, the out, the print ln, and you say, you do name. Oh, sorry, put that in parentheses. Say name. Then you start printing them one by one, right? You put a plus here, and you say name one. Then we control D 5 times just to duplicate it, and then we make this two, three, sorry, this is three, four, and five. So when we run this, of course, we get the five names. So who here is confused by what we see here, or who is not familiar with this, with what we just did? Just raise up your hand. Or let me put it the other way: who is familiar with what we just did and is understands it and knows what we just did? So just raise up your hand if you understand it and you're like, okay, this is simple. I know this. All right, Sumbo, I guess you too, you as well, right? Okay. Okay, somebody's a little bit busy with something. So yeah, she says she's got it too. All right. So this is where we can simplify stuff with an array. Thank you for raising up your hands. So this is where an array can come in. Remember, an array is a collection of similar type of objects. So if you look at this object, they are very similar in a couple of ways. First of all, we know they are all names. So they are the same thing. We are collecting names. It's not like we are collecting name here, we are collecting vehicle name, we are collecting uh, electronic name. No, we are collecting names of people. So they are similar. It's just that they are different types. That's one. Secondly, the type is the same. The data type is the same. They are all strings. This is a perfect example where you can use an array. And remember, an array is a collection of similar types of objects. So with an array, we can simplify this drastically. So would you change this to an array? Very simple. We'll do something like this. So string. So remember, the data type, the declaration of a string is, first of all, you write the data type. You see, this is a data type. So we start with string, which is this guy here. So we're going to comment all of this out. We'll comment this out also. So let's follow it. So first you start with your data type, then you open and close the block bracket, then you give it a name. This is now an object. What you see now is I'm still gonna explain to you guys what an object really is, but just have it in mind, this is an object now. We have an object array of string. Then we give it a name. We'll call this names because now we know it's a collection. It's gonna hold a lot of stuff. So we call it names. We put it plural because we know there's going to be more of them. But of course, you can name it whatever you want. But we want to normally use descriptive um, variable names. So this is your variable name for this object. Then we say it's equal to. So let's see what's next. Uh, we'll say new array type. So that we have to make it new, the name of this array. So we have to use the new keyword. The new keyword is a very important keyword. You use that to create a new instance of an object. Just have that in mind. I'm going to explain what that phrase means. We use new to create a new instance of an object. So we just say string and then block brackets. And now something interesting. We have to now tell it how many uh, objects we intend to store, or how many of this values we intend to store in the string. We have to specify that. So in this situation, we know it's five, so we have to put five in this bracket here and close it. So this is how you declare an array. So what we are doing now is we are just creating five as empty box. This is similar to saying I'm going to create I'm going to create five empty box and I'm expecting a string to be in it. I don't care what it is, I'm expecting a string to be in that box. So now that we've declared this array. Now we want to start putting stuff inside the box. This is just saying I have declared 5 empty boxes. They are waiting to be used. So fine. Then we'll go to the next line. Now we want to start putting stuff in the box, right? So how do you do that? Very interesting again. So you have to now use the name of the variable. So remember, there are like 5 empty boxes lined next to each other. So the first box, we get to the first box by using what we call an index position. We get to the first box by using what we call an index position. And an index position, the word index position always starts, the first index position always starts with 0. So let me try to draw that out for you guys. Let me see. Do I have a pen here? I think I do have a pen somewhere. Let me see. Just give me a minute. I have a pen somewhere here. Can I write? Yes, I can write. Great. So let me undo that. So this is what we just created. We created 5 boxes. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's what we just did with this guy here. And then each of this box, how you get to them, we get to them through what we call index position. So this first position has the index position of 0. The second position has the index of 1. And then this is 2, this is 3, and this is 4. So if you want to put stuff in the fifth box, you have to get there through the index position of 4. So let's see how that looks like. Let me get rid of all of this real quick. Let me see. Yes, clear. All right, so having that in mind, let's give that a try. So we want to put Darlington in the first index position. So that's, of course, 0 equal to, so we can copy this guy now and put it here. And then let's duplicate that a couple of times so we don't have to type. We'll put the next one, Constance, put the next one, God's will, next one, if I, and the last one is Obi. And then we go to the next index box, to the next box, and then to the next box, and to the next box, and oh, sorry, this is 2, got that wrong, 2, 3, 4. So now we have one array that holds 5 strings, or that can hold 5 strings. They were initially empty, and now we've added data to all of the boxes. Now, how do we now print this? That's very good. So we can do that. Remember, we've been playing around with loops for a while now. So I told you with arrays, you now start seeing the power of loops. Remember, we were playing with loops, for loop, we played with the while loop, we played with the do while loop. This is a very good instance where you see the for loop come into action. So let's print this out. How would you do that? So of course we go with our for loop. Remember our for loop, we give the data type. In this case, it's integer. We say int I is equal to 0. Remember, 0 is the first index position that we want to start printing. Then uh, we'll now say how. Now the second part is we want to tell the loop how long it has to loop, which is quite interesting. So what would you put here? You're going to put names, which is the name of the array. Now there is a way to get the length of an array. How do you find out how many spaces an array can hold? So you do that by using the names dot length keyword. So what you do now, you say if I is less than, so if this I is less than the number of items in this object, what should it do? It should increment. So let's look at this very closely. So what are we doing here? First of all, we created a variable called I, and we initialized it to 0. The reason why we initialized it to 0 is when we loop, we want it to start looping from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now the second part says The second part is where you determine how long does it have to loop till it comes out. So we say, well, we want you to keep looping as long as I is less than the length is less than this five. That's what this will bring. Names.length will print out five, because what it will do is it will go into this array and check, okay, how many objects can you save here? Oh, we saw you put five there. It will keep looping till it's uh as long as it's less than five, it will go in. And the next step says, as long as you're looping, just keep adding one, one, one to it. So that will be the first one will be zero, the second one will be one, the second one, third one two, the fourth one three, and then the fifth one will be four. So if it is four, it will say, is I less than names? Yes, it is less than names. It will go in, and it will increment again. Then it will become five. When it comes here, it will be like, is I less than five? No, I is not less than five. It will jump out of the loop. Now, all we now have to do here is we have to do say system.out.print ln, and how do we print out what the names? We'll now just put the name of the array, which is names. Sorry, which is names, and then brackets, the block brackets, and then I. And remember, the I, let me see, yeah. So remember, the I will keep looping it to be zero. So when it comes to zero, it will print Darlington. When it increments and becomes one, it will print Constance, and that's what it's going to do. Now let's play it out and see how it all plays out. Let's get rid of this to avoid any confusion, and let's rock it. Run, and we see perfectly printing this stuff out. So this is the power of an array. It can do much more. Now, of course, like I explained in the front here, or an array you can use it for any type of data type. You can do that for integers, you can do that for floats, you can do that for anything. It's a collection, or a collection of similar types or data types where you want to collect stuff. Um, what else? You can it's a very powerful stuff. You can use it to manipulate data, of course. But there's also something I want to let you guys know. We've been using strings for a while, right? We've been looking using strings for a while. Let me comment this out. Oh, sorry, strings for a while. But one thing you guys probably didn't realize is that a string is actually a collection of chars. Remember the char data type? So a string is actually a collection, and intrinsically, you can find every letter inside a string through an index position. And let's see what we mean by that. So if we declare a variable called string name, and I write Darlington and Godswill are friends, right? If I do something like this and I tell you, can you print out can you give me let me say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, uh 12, 13, 14, 15. So if I give you a problem and I say, can you give me the 15th letter of this string? Now the interesting thing is actually that strings, like I told you, is a collection. So you can actually find that by doing this. Let's see. Can say system.out.print ln. Let me see. Am I getting this correctly? Um, okay, I think I'm missing out something here. Just a minute. All right, so I think I'm having a syntax. errors somewhere here. I'm supposed to print out something else or do something. So let's Google it. So sometimes I do forget this stuff, which is important to use the power of Google. So we just say Java string get index position, get index of substring or something like that. So let's see what Google is gonna say. It's gonna help us out. Oh yes, I now remember. I now remember. I'm supposed to say. All right, no, sorry. Let me show you guys how it looks like. So this is what I missed. I'm supposed to say index of, but let's also see some other interesting things that could be happening here. All right, so let's use the index of first. So I'm supposed to say index of, and then I give you the I put the 14 here. All right, let's print this out and see what's gonna happen, and we'll see. We're gonna get the letter. Nope, it's printing out something we did not expect. What is this? Darlington. Sorry, let me try that again. Okay, so it is printing out index of 14. Obi, you have something to say? Ah, shoot. Sure, sure. Go ahead.
Um, can you hear me?
No, index.
Yeah, did you mean
And the reason
index
why
or
index
index?
is each of these letters you see here are actually in a specific index position. So this will be in index position 0. But let's see. Let's go back. It is printing.
So you're supposed
That's
to
it.
type in index
Index of.
after the name dot. Like, is it supposed to be name?
No, that's awesome. Thank you. You have good eyes. Great eyes.
Okay.
Index of. That was what the problem was. Thank you so much. So of course we have what? 14. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. There's also something else I did not add to that index position. Let's see. That is where I wanted to start counting from. So let's take a look at Google again. I think I missed that in a hurry. So let's see. So when you use index of and okay, no, 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 no. I am totally giving you guys the wrong information. Using index of actually gives you an index position of a given what you call it, of a given string. So if I what this 14, if I said I wanted G, for example, it will give me 14, telling me that that's the index position. I was totally using it wrongly. That's what you get when you program in multiple languages. Sometimes you mix them together, and it tells you that the index position of G is actually 15. So if we counted it, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So we see that the index G is actually at line 15. So that's what you use index position for. I mean index of 4. But what I actually want to do is print this G. So I would technically assume. All right, let's go again. Let's go again and see because index of. Sorry, I think I actually did the wrong search here. So I'll say um get character of an of a string. Yeah. Yes, it is actually the char at. Oh my God, mixed so many things up. So index of actually will give you the index position and char at. In this case, I will put 15. So what that remember I told you like I told you guys that a string is a collection of characters, right? So when you get your string and you say, use the method char at, and then give it the index position, it will give you the exact letter that you find there. So in this case, the first one we're gonna get the index position, and the second one we're gonna get the character itself. So let's take a look at that. And we see we got here a G. So you can play around with that. If you put 0, which is the first character, it will print out D. So this is very important to remember, because a lot of times you might find yourself wanting to manipulate. You might want to manipulate a string, right? It's also possible to be like, oh, I want to print out. Uh, so I think we have it's sometimes you might be like, okay, I want to print out the first number of letters in a string. Maybe this is too long. Maybe you're printing this on a web page, and this string is too long. And you're like, yo, I only want to print the first n or x characters. Maybe you want to print the first one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Maybe the first seven character. And you understanding that a string is a collection of characters, that means you can still play around with it. And for that, you also use a different method. I think it's called substring. And then you say, okay, I want you to count from index position up until say 7. And if you print this out now, let's print this out. Remember, we're still manipulating the name variable, right? So if we run this, you see it prints only darling. And that's because an, a string is a collection of characters. So technically, it is in somewhat of an array, right? What else can you use an array for? You can use array to hold objects. Of course, we've not talked about object, but string is a type of object. But what if we had another object? I'm gonna break the object story down for you guys as we go on. But for now, just bear with me. So I'm gonna create a new class. So I'm gonna call it public class. I'll give it a name cars. Now in that cars, the car has a prop has I'm gonna give it like two property. Let me see, am I in the right place? So what's it saying? More action. Um, okay, let's move it to its own class. So we're gonna give it a property. We're gonna say string car name, and yeah, we're just gonna make that empty, and we're gonna call what else? Let's print another string and say car owner. So we have an object here called cars. It's a very simple class. All this cars does is when you go into that object, it holds two properties. One, you see the car name, and the second one, you see the car owner. Let's just change this to name actually. So one is the name of the car, and the two is the car owner. Now let's see how we can use this in an array. So remember, I told you an array is a collection of uh, objects of the same data type. So take for example, now we have I don't know, we have 5 cars, and I'm a car dealer and I bought 5 cars. So I have a car object here, and I want to store these 5 cars in my database or in my data collection. So I can use an array for that. Remember, I'm storing similar stuff, cars, and I know how many I want to store. So we do that simply again. We say cars. Remember, that's the name of the data type or the object. So cars. We put a square bracket. Let's go back to this guy so I can use it again. So you see data type, open and close square brackets. That's what we're doing here. And then we say we're storing cars. That's the variable name is equal to new cars, and then we give it the number of times we want to save it. So what if we remember in our first example we were remember in our first example we were uh, naming the cars one by one, or we're giving it properties one by one. So let's see first. Okay, we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna see how we can do that dynamically, and we're gonna see what that word means in a minute. So of course, if we have to do it the way we did it last time, we say cars. Um, the first position, which is 0, would be equal to. Now we say new car, New car. Let's see, how would we do this? Oh no, 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 this is wrong actually. Cars. Okay, that's the name. That's what I named it. Cars. Yeah, this is a very wrong way to name because this is just one object. I don't want to name it cars. I want to name it just car. That's what I want it to be. So I'm going to refactor this to rename the file to be car. I don't I don't want to name it cars. It's just a blueprint of a car. So I'm going to rename this one car. And I'm going to do something else here, which I'm going to teach you guys later. I'm going to create what we call a constructor so that I can use that to populate this name and car owner very easily. So how do I do that? I'm going to say new, I'm going to say public car. I'm going to explain all of this later, but I just want to show you how we can use an array to store an object. So I'm going to say here, I'm going to say name, do string name, string car owner, and then we use that to populate. So say this dot name is equal to name, this dot car owner is equal to car owner. So what this is doing is whenever I create a new instance of the object of this object, and how do I create a new instance of this object is by using the word new. Anytime you use the word new, you're trying to create a new instance of an object, and I'm going to explain that in a minute. So I'm saying when I want to create a new when I create a new instance of an object, this method I can directly assign a name and a car owner to it. And when I do that, it will take whatever I gave it in this constructor, this is what you call a constructor, and it will pass that into this properties that we have here. So that's why you see I said when the user initializes or creates a new instance of this car object, take the name and the car owner and pass it to this. See, that's what I did here. This dot name, that means this thing on this variable here, pass whatever this person gave here as name in here, and as car owner, pass it in here. That's why we use it. That's why you see the equation sign here. So that will help us here. Now I can do something like this. I can say name is Darlington. So you see the name IntelliJ is telling you, oh, I know what should be here, name. That's because it's looking at this guy and it sees this name here. And then the second one, if I put a comma, and then IntelliJ knows as well that I'm gonna put, sorry, the name of the car is Volvo and the car owner is Darlington. So now we can duplicate this 5 times, DDD, because we know we can store just 5. And let's say we have all the same type of cars. We'll call this one Constance. We'll call this uh, Pro. Call this Sumi. We'll call this Obi. And of course, if we leave it like this, it means it will keep overwriting the first position, but that's not what we want. We want it to write to fill in all the collection boxes. So we go 3, 4. So now we have stored 5 objects of car type in this array. Now, how do we print it out? So we can do the same thing using our for loop. So we say for int I is equal to 0. If I is less than cars dot length, what should it do? It should increment. It should increment I. And how would we print that? We will do something like this and system, say system dot out dot print ln, and now we go to our cars. Remember, when inside our cars, there is a car object. So we say, which is I. So now at this point, we are in, on the first loop, we're going to be accessing this first container. And remember, what is inside this first container? It is a new instance of car. So if we want to access what is now inside this car, so now at this point we're inside a car. You put a dot here, and we say, see, we now have access to car owner and name. So we can say name. So this would be probably, we can say this is name of car or car name. And then when we go to the next one, well, let's just create another one. Say car owner. and then we'll just change this to owner, car owner. So let's print this out and see what it's going to do. And you see it gives us, oh, let's make it look neater. So we're going to create another one so we can separate it easily. Just put a dash, 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 dash. So that way we can separate it visually. Excuse me. So we see now we have an object that we put in an array and we can access each of those objects. So the name is Volvo. So car name. Oh yeah, I didn't put the space here, so it looks cluttered. So let's run that again, make it look nice. So car name, Volvo, owner Darlington, car name, Volvo, Constance, and it goes on and on and on and on. And all of that we put in an array. There are also times when you're like, okay, I don't want to be typing this stuff all by myself. Maybe your use case or whatever you're trying to do, you have a generic naming way you want to do that, right? And maybe that naming way has to do with one, two, three, four, five. Now, fine, that's also very helpful here. So, take for example, you have something like that. And what do I mean? Maybe in this name part, maybe you feel like maybe the assignment you have is all the cars are Volvo, and the car owner you should just increment it by saying owner one, owner two, owner three, owner four. Now, if you have that kind of use case, it even makes this work here very easy for you because you can put all of that also in a for loop. So remember, the use case is all cars are Volvo, and the owner the owner of the cars. They want to maybe the use cases use something generic like owner one, owner two, owner three. So I'll say use generic naming like owner one, owner two, and etc. So if you have a use case like this, that also makes your life very easy because now you don't have to write all those lines with rows. You can just use a for loop as well. So you can say for int. This time we know that you want to start with owner one, right? So we just say, okay, we're gonna make I to start from one. So I is one, and if I is less than, uh, sorry, if I is less than or equal to five, because we know that there are five of them in here, and we are counting from one. We want you to increment, so I plus plus. So if we have this now, so it's very easy for us to do now. So all we have to do now is we say cars. So car I. Oh, no, sorry. We do have to start from zero. We do have to start from zero because of we want to loop through uh car array and we want to start filling it from the first index. So cars, where is it? So cars actually is the name of the variable. So car I. So I keeps incrementing. So we say car I is equal to a new instance of car, and now we can say we are sure it's always going to be Volvo. So put Volvo, which is the first um, item on the use case. The use case says the cars are all Volvo, and the second one says use a generic naming like owner one, owner two, etc. So that's pretty easy. So you just say owner, and then you use your what do you call it? Use your incrementer variable. So in this case, it's going to be I, right? But the problem now here is, or who sees the problem here? Can anyone see the problem on this in this line here? Or here, let me put it like this. Let me make it easier for you guys. What is the problem in this naming? What would happen here? Would we get what we want here? Can you raise your hands if you know? Not really a problem. It's not like the code would break, but would we get what we want here? All right. If I
from what we intend to achieve, I think there's a
Okay.
problem with the logic. Like it's always give the same car
Yes.
name and the same car owner. No, 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 no. Like you are pressing I, right? So owner one, owner two, owner zero. It will start
Exactly.
from
So what will happen now
zero.
is
So
if
what
we
we do
ran
is
this,
to
instead of starting from owner
like
one, it's going
I
to start
plus
from
one.
owner zero
So it will not
because
start from
this is
zero.
what we did here. We are starting our index position from zero. So if we run it now, let's see how that looks like. Okay, that's great. We have an error, which is true. I'm going to explain this error in a minute. So let's just fix that by doing this. We're going to talk about this error later. But for now, the fix of that is this because I just want to show you what happens. So now we see that we have owner zero and then it goes to owner one. So, but that's not what our use case is asking us. Our use case is saying we want you to start from owner zero. I mean owner one. So this owner zero is not the right. It's not what our use case is about. The use that means we kind of like didn't program it properly. So just like if I said, the solution to that is we just add one to this I, because since we know that I starts from zero and keeps incrementing, that means when an item is zero, it would actually mean that it's one for owner, and when the item is one, it will actually mean that it's two for the owner. So it's just simple. We can just put this in the brackets. I like to do it this way and then says plus one. So anytime an item is in I, just add one to it. So if we run that now, we'll see we get exactly what we want. It goes from one to, so on a one, on a two, on a three, on a four, on a five. So if you have a generic use case like this, you see it even saves you time because all you have to do is just loop through your collection or your array. So uh, I also mentioned I was going to show you guys that error, what happened with that error. So when you have, like, when we declare our variable here, sorry, when we declared our array, we specifically mentioned how many items we want to store in that array. If I had a question, right? Or okay. So when you have declared the number of items you want to place in that array,
No
what
question.
then happens if your loop? So let me draw that out. Let me use that pen and stuff again so it gets a lot clearer. So I have my pen again. Yes. So we have this five boxes that's gonna store cars. It's one, two, three, four, five. So what we are doing here is we are looping inside each of this item, and we're saying print this, print this, print this, print this, print this, and then we are saying print this. And when it gets here, it's like this is what you call an index out of bound, of bound. Haha, very ugly handwriting. But yeah, that's the problem. So remember, this is zero, one, two, three, four, and you're trying to print five. It's gonna get there and be like, no, I can't find anything. This is not a valid index, so I'm gonna throw an error. So that's exactly what we saw here. So what we did, I'm gonna get rid of this. So what happened was I made this instead of I said if I is less than uh, 5 or equal to 5, keep looping. So let's put a breakpoint here and walk through it and see what's going on. So we're gonna run this again. Um, Sorry, let me run it as on debug so we can walk through it and see what's going on. So now my use case is here. I mean my run is here. And at this point, we have created 5 objects of array. You see them here? So it has created a variable called cars and has created 5 array boxes. And it even tells us here that the length of it is 5 because that's what you gave it here. Now we are now this row that is highlighted is actually signifying this is where we are in our debug. Like it has not run this code yet. So we'll step into it now. Now we've run this line. So I at this point is 0, you see? So that means we are going to, that means cars 0 at this point is going to fetch, is actually pointing to the first container. Then we are using this new stuff to initialize it and put that in the first position. Remember, the first position is 0. So he's saying I is 0 now. So he's going to place that successfully inside the first index position, inside the first, inside the first array position, which is like a box. You should just see that as a box. So let's step over. So that worked out successfully. So now I is 1. So this array position now is at 1. So it has moved to the next box, and it's going to store a new car object inside that. So that works out pretty well. So we'll step over. Now I is 2, and it does the same. I is 3, it does the same. I is 4, it does the same. So I is 4 now, huh? It does the same, and I becomes 5, it does the same. But look at our logic here. This is going to work out successfully. Sorry, I was too fast. But when I was 5, it tries to save 5 in here because when I became 5, it tried to put 5 in here, and then what happened? It created what we call an index out of bound position, and it's telling you that 5 does not exist because remember the fifth position in an array. The fifth position in an array is what? Is 4 because it starts counting from 0. So the fifth position, that fifth box, if you want to access that fifth box, you have to use index 4. But we are looping, we started looping from 0, and we are trying to get to the fifth index. And that it doesn't exist. So it will give you an index out of bound. But if you remove the equal sign, that means it will keep looping until it gets to 4. And when it gets to 5, that means when it gets to 5, this will evaluate to false. Because when it gets to 5, I is no longer less than 5. I is actually equal to 5. So it will jump out of here and go to the next row. So I know loops sometimes can get you all tingling in your brain, but if you kind of think about it logically, it makes sense. So let's try that again because I think it's very interesting to really understand loops, how that works. So now we've taken away that equality sign. So let's debug it. So we're gonna go 1. So the first one is 0, second one is 1, 2, and it's going up. It's incrementing because this value still holds true. So is 2 less than 5? Yes, 2 is less than 5. So it goes in. It's now 3. Is 3 less than 5? Yes, 3 is less than 5. It goes in. So is 4 less than 5? Yes, 4 is less than 5. It will go in. Oh man, I went too fast again. So it has jumped out to the next one, and that was because I kind of clicked too fast, and when it got to 5, 5 is not less than 5, and it jumps out and it doesn't run this again. So if you look at it, oh yeah, we're out of it. We cannot see it, but here we can actually see now that it has populated. Let me just raise this up a bit. We see now it has populated 5 objects of cars in this array. And you see the array actually starts from 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So the length is 5. So if they ask you what is the length of this array, how many items can this array hold? Yes, the answer is 5. But if I tell you to print the fifth item in the array, you have to access it by using the index position of 4 because there is no index position of 5 here. And the reason there's no index position of 5 is because an array starts counting from 0. So it goes 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. You understand? So it's actually, if you want to count how many objects are in the array, it's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But if you want to access index positions, which is how you access the content of an array, you actually use index positions, and that starts counting from 0. All right, maybe a little bit of a lot of information, but let's see what we got on our slides. So this is something similar you see we've done right now. In this case, we're using integers. This is how it looks like. You can store an array of integers, And as you can see, this is also how the index position looks like. So we have a variable name called age, and we store that. We can access that using the index positions, or even store that directly using the index positions that we have given. One very important thing about an array is uh, when you are declaring it, you must tell it the length of the array or what the length is of that array. So it's a situation where you must know beforehand. So if you have a situation where sometimes the number of users could be, or the number of items could be 10, sometimes it can be 15, then this would not work for you. There is a different solution on how to deal with that. So an array forces you to input the number of items you want to put in the array. It forces you to do that. Can you still use an array when the number of items are dynamic? Yes, but not we cannot use it directly like this or using this syntax. This will not work. We have to do that in a different way, which we're also going to see. For now, in case you get this in your exams, if someone if the question is like this and you see someone is trying to add something in the sixth position, they're going to ask you, is this going to work? No, it's not going to work because there is no sixth position because you've already identified that there are only 5 items can be stored in this array. So it will give you an error, and we saw what that error is. It will give you an index out of bound exception. That's what we call that. All right. I'd like us to just try out this exercise. Let's take some time to do it. But first of all, before we do that, let me just print this. Let me post this on the WhatsApp. Does anyone have any question? Maybe it's a little bit of a mouthful. Maybe it's too much information, but it'll be good um, to have to ask a question if you are not clear on it. I'm also gonna print. I'm gonna also going to copy. I'm gonna paste the code out for you guys to have an example of in the chat. Let me see. All right, so let's see what the question is about. So write a program that calculates the sum of all multiples of 3 and 5. Hold up. Is this an array? No, 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 no. This was a different it's a different assignment. No, this is a different assignment. This is not has to do with an array. Okay, my bad. All right, let's get a life problem. I think let's go to a live problem. So we're gonna go to when I mean a live problem, let's really go to where they pick exams from, right? Or where if you're preparing for your interview, where probably you want to go to practice. So there's this website called HackerRank. So let's go there and see if we can get an interesting problem that we can solve. So this is HackerRank. I think I have an account here. Login for the developer. Let's log in. So let's get something live, like let's see. So we have if you want to prepare for Java, you can come in here and see what kind of stuff you can work on. So let's look for arrays. Do they have something for arrays? Let me see. Yeah, so we have an array here. So we have 1D array. Great. So let's see. This is a long problem anyway. So let's see. So an array, this is just an information of what an array is. An array is a simple data structure used to store collection of data. We get it. For example, we get it. So what is your task? Yes. The code in your editor does the following. It reads an integer. Let's see what is going on here. Okay. The code in your editor reads an integer from the standard input. I'm sure you guys are familiar with this code. This is your scanner. Your scanner reads input from the user. and this closes the scanner. And there's a loop happening here. So you guys are probably familiar with this. It starts from I if I is less than a dot length. So what is a? So I think a is what we have to program. There's a variable called a, and I think that's what they want us to work on. So what it's saying is, let's see. So it reads an integer from the standard input and saves it to a variable n, denoting some number of integer. So it takes an integer, it reads an integer corresponding to a1, a0, a1, blah, 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 from the standard input and saves each integer a to a variable. All right. Then it attempts to print each element of an array of integer named a. Write the following code and unlock portions of your editor. Okay. I think this might be a little bit too complicated for you guys. Let me give you guys something simpler. This will get you guys will get here, but I don't want to make it too complicated. So let's get simple array practice. Let's just get something very simple for you guys to play with. So oh, nope, 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 not C solution. I'm sorry for that. Write a Java program that sums. Okay, yeah, this will be something nice. Write a Java program that sums values of an array. Okay, so let's try this one. So we're going to write a program that sums the value of an array. So how are we going to do that? Let me just write the, I'll just quickly create the assignment here so we can try that out. This is a lot simpler for you guys, not overly complicated. New slide. Oh, sorry. Control D. So yeah, I'll just paste this here. Oh, sorry. Paste. So, and what are the numbers? So let's say 2, 5, 55. So what do I want you to do? I want you to place these numbers in an array and write a program that sums all of these numbers together. So let me put this in the chat, and let's take a few minutes to solve this. I'm gonna get rid of this one. Let's see. All right, is this clear? Is this question clear? So these are the values. I want you to store in an array. Then I want you to loop through the array and add all of these numbers together. And then at the end, it should print out the total. If this is not clear to you, please raise up your hand. All right, so go. I'm going to give you guys 5 minutes. No, I'm going to give you guys 10 minutes. Let me give you guys 10 minutes to give it a shot. Pen. All right. Power focus. Okay. All right. If you're done, if you're done, please just raise up your hand so we know. Maybe we don't even have to wait up to 10 minutes. All right. Okay. So Constance will share her screen now, and if I will help out.
All right. So is how far I got.
All right. So maybe you can start by explaining what you've done, and then I can see her screen. Uh,
I, oh yeah,
what
sorry.
screen are you seeing, if I?
So I created an array
I
of
can't see your screen.
numbers.
Are you still
Okay,
sharing your
let me
screen?
see. I
Oh
think.
yeah.
Let me see. Yeah. Okay, I've taken my screen out, so I think you should see hers now.
Yes.
You see her screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see your screen.
So I created
Oh.
an
Hmm.
array and put all the numbers, and then I created a for loop to, you know, um, yeah, and then um, yeah, and I did this, but I couldn't figure out how to like add all the numbers together from
Okay.
here.
In your for loop statement, like, can you change the I? Like, you have the int, the declaration, then the condition, the middle one. Change it to uh your sum dot. Can you rename it to sum dot length? I
Sorry,
less than sum dot length. Remove the six
some
dot length.
like okay,
Create another variable, maybe outside your for loop statement, and call it, let's say, result.
results.
Yeah. Think initialize it with zero.
Yeah. Oh, is there?
Then in your for loop, then result equals plus equals.
Here? Oh, here.
You comment your system.out.println, like the one you wrote inside the for loop. Can you
Sorry?
comment it? Comment the
Oh, I should
one you've
comment
written
this
inside.
one, 21.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then result plus equals sum, then square bracket I, and close it. Then outside your loop, then you now print results. And then you can type your result is however you want.
Results. Okay.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Um, does it make sense
Yeah,
to you,
it's
Constance?
8. Okay.
Okay, just look at it for a while.
Thank
Look at
you.
it for a while. Let's see someone else.
Where?
Obi, can you share your screen? Just look at it for a while. See if it makes sense to you. So Obi, share your screen. Let's see
Uh,
if I can help you.
okay. Okay.
Obi, are you still there? Okay. Yeah. This is Obi's window, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can hear you. You have to click on the ignore. There's an ignore stuff. You have to click there.
You guys can hear me,
Yeah, and
right?
then let's see your screen. Let's see your code. No, you have to bring it to the screen. We cannot see your code.
Let's see.
We are seeing ourselves.
Okay, my work. Okay, yeah. Okay. So you can see it now. Yeah, I can see it. Let me do it again.
Yeah, that's better.
How about now? Okay. All right. So this is where I got to.
Okay.
So I had the same problem with constants. I couldn't add it up. I think
Okay.
I got
With
everything
the
right. Like
solution of
I
the
was not
constant,
able
do you know
to
what to
add
do
it up,
now?
so I just kind of tested whether it would print. So
Okay.
I was at the point of testing whether it would print.
All right.
That's
All
the
right.
sign
So
went
let's go
up.
to the next one person. So just try to fix that. Sumbo, can you share your screen?
Yeah,
You
I
can
know
stop
what to do
sharing
now. So I will
because I believe
just
you can solve it yourself, I think. Sumbo, you can share your screen if
okay,
you want.
okay,
Are you able to share it or it's stuck? We can't hear you. All right. I think Sumbo is having some technical issues. Gusto, can you share your screen? Okay, Gus will also. Okay, can you? Are you on the computer? Can you share your screen? We're seeing you. We're not seeing your computer. Ah, okay. You're not on the computer with your. Okay, you're not actually streaming from your computer directly. All right, all right, all right. This will be a little bit harder to work with. So what you could do is you could take a picture of it and share it on the chat, and then we can look at it later.
Yeah,
Let's see
yeah,
who's
yeah.
next. Sumbo, are you able to come in now, or you're still stuck? All right, so you can share your screen. No one is hearing you.
Okay.
Answer me. You're just talking to me alone here.
Sorry, sorry guys. I'm sending my phone so
Okay. All right. There we go. All right. Okay. So do you know what to do? Did you?
hey,
Okay.
so I'm
So
still
I think you
working
can
on
handle
it.
it.
I wasn't done.
Pretty good. Pretty good.
But
You can mute yourself because
yes, I
that
followed
James
through
Bond is making
when
noise.
Ifeanyi was
All
telling
right, thank
Constance
you.
what to
Thank
do.
you, Ify, for that help. That was really good. So why so this let me go back to share my screen. Just give me a minute. So I'm going to try to explain again what Ify actually did. Or Constance, were you able to figure it out now? Do you understand it? Beautiful, beautiful. So Like I said,
So I
array
just don't.
sometimes can
The
tickle your
result
brain,
plus
but
is
once you get
some
it, you
I. I
got
don't
it.
get how that
Like you'll be like,
adds
oh,
all
so
the
easy. So
arrays
like
together.
just like addition and stuff. It's just
Explain
so easy.
explain
But
that.
you
That
have
would
to
be
wrap your
really
head around
nice.
it first. So yeah, let's look at it. Let's look at it together. And I'm going to take it up from scratch and let me try my best to explain it as clear as possible. So these are the numbers we want, right? So we're going to put all of this in an array. So I'm gonna just put it like this, and I'm gonna do exactly what you guys did. I'll say int, I'll call this numbers, and of course, to make it an array, we have to put the square brackets, telling the system that this will be an array. And then I have to count how many there are. So there's one, two, three, four, five, six, seven. What if I did something like this? Ah, what is going on here? So fine, this is something new, but this is another way to make your life easier. But I wanted to make you guys' life hard, and the reason I want to do that is because you have to learn the basic way of doing it first. So this is very similar to saying this is very similar to saying new int 7, and it's also let me see, new integer 487. Oh, what am I missing here? Yes, I have duplicates. So this is very similar to doing it like this, and also very similar to doing what you guys did by saying numbers 0 is equal to 2 and blah 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 blah. So no, no, let me just be let me just be candid with this. So let me just go like this, and let me just put it all together so I don't create any confusion. 8, 3, 7, 9, and 4. So this whole 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 lines, we can actually do just by using this one line. But it is very, very important that you know this. Sorry, this was all wrong. This has to be 1, 2, like I told you guys, 3, 4, 5, 6, which are the index positions, right? So it is very important for you to learn this. Because this is probably one of the questions you get in your exams when you do your exams. They are not gonna most likely they will not give you the shorthand, or they might give you the shorthand. They might give you this whole extended version. So you need to know that both of them are the same. The only thing is this one makes your life easier because you can write all of this in just one line. So by doing this, you are saying the index position is going to be 7, and these are the values that are in it. Everything now is all concatenated into one. So from here I can go on now. So the question was, so this is very similar. This whole thing, which you guys wrote, is very similar to this one line. So fine, let me get this out because I just want to be faster. Now the question is, how do we add? So if you guys remember, we've done summation of value before. Remember, we had where we were doing the for loop, and we're like, I told you guys sum all the I think it was sum all the numbers from 1 to 5, and you guys did something like this. The first thing you guys did was you created a variable, you called it probably sum or total, and you set the total to 0, and then you wrote a for loop. If you guys can remember, you wrote a for loop, and your for loop looked something like this. I was equal to 1, and then you were like, if I was less than or equal to 5, then you guys did something like this, and you said I was plus plus, right? Sorry, plus plus. And then you guys just printed, sorry, you guys did something like this here, and you said total. Remember, you guys did something like this, total plus equal to I. And then out here, you guys printed the total. Oh, sorry, total. So this was a code we did before. So if I run this now, it's going to print out the total of 1 to 5. So if I run this now, you see down here we have 15, which is the total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So even let me print it out so you guys see what's going on. So system dot out dot print. So so we're gonna start printing out what it's actually doing. So take a look at this, and then let's just put total here. Total. So if I run this code now, see, it started from one, two. It started adding one, two, three, four, five, and told us it and give us the total was 15. So this, if you guys remember, we did this before when we were testing our for loops. So this is just what prints out the one, two, three, four, five, and this was how we started adding stuff up. So we're like, we gave the variable total a 0, which is our initial number, and then we said if you get to I is 1, add this 1 to total. So it's going to be 0 plus 1. The answer added to total. Now total will be 1. Then it loops again. At this point, total I will be 2. So add 2 plus the value in total at that time is 1. So it will be 2 plus 1 is 3. And then 3 plus, the next one will be 3 plus 2. It goes on like that until it gets to 5, and then it breaks out. Right? Do you guys remember this? Constance, do you remember this? Goswell, do you remember this? Oh, I don't know if Goswell was here by then, but if you watch the video training, you might have seen this.
Yes.
And Obi, you remember
Yeah,
this,
I
right?
remember.
Great. This is something similar to what we are doing, but remember, the only difference now is we are putting all our numbers now in an array, in a collection. So we
Yeah,
just have to
I
do
remember
three
this.
things. So first of all, the total, right? We have a total that's going to hold the total of everything we want to add. Secondly, we want to loop, in this our example, we know we want to loop the first 5 numbers. But in an array, what we want to know is how long or how many containers are in the array. And remember, we already know how to do that. We just have to get the variable number of the array. So instead of 5 here, we say the variable number of the array dot length. Because we know, like, okay, we want to look for, because if I add more numbers here, the length changes. And then we don't want to make it less than or equal to anymore. The reason we don't want to make it less than or equal to is because an array starts counting from 0 till a number before the number dot length in this. If you do number dot length, it's going to give you 7. It's going to actually count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But when we want to get the item inside the array, we use index positions, and index position starts counting from 0. So that means also we have to make this I count from 0. So that means it should count 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When it gets to 6, it has to stop. So that's why we say if it's less than, because when it gets to 7, 7 is no longer, when I is equal to 7, 7 is not less than 7. Because that's what this is testing when it gets to 7. So if I increments and get to 7, the question will now be, is 7 less than 7? Because numbers.length will give you 7. No, it's not less than 7. Then it will jump out. It will break out. So you will not get that error that says index out of bound. So that's why we are not putting the equal to, because if you put equal to, then if it tests is 7 less than or equal to 7, yes, 7 is equal to 7. So it will go into the loop, but when it gets into the loop, there is no index 7, so it will give you an error. So that's why you have to make it less than. Then this keeps incrementing. So we're going to increment from 0 up until it breaks out from this what do you call it, this test here that says is I less than numbers dot length. Then the next thing we want to do here is we want to now add each of the items in the array to our total. That's the beauty of it. So that was what what Ifeanyi now that's what Ifeanyi now said. How do we now get the item in our array? Remember, to get the item in our array, we have to print the variable name, which in this case is numbers, block brackets, and then the index position. So remember, the index position of the first one will be 0. The second index position is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's exactly what our loop is doing for us. So instead of physically putting index 0 here, because if we put index 0 here, it will only count 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, because it's just stuck on the first one. But we want it to go from one index position to the other index position, and that's exactly what our for loop is doing for us, because this I keeps incrementing by 1. So instead of putting 0 or a specific number here, we just put I, because we know the first time I is going to be 0. When it loops again, it's going to be 2. So if it's 0, it's 2. The next one is going to be 55. The next one is going to be 8. Next one, and when you're doing that, remember you're doing your plus equals, which sums the actual total plus this new number and stores it back in total. So it just keeps doing that until it gets all these items one by one by one by one, and it gets to the last one and it breaks out. Control Z, and it breaks out, and then you come out here and you print your total. Now, if you had put your system.out.print here, what will happen is it will just keep printing the total as it increments. So let's try that out. So let's do total here. Uh, I'll just make this one current total plus total. So if I commented this one out, so let's see what this is going to print out. So I'm going to run this. So you see, it will keep printing out the total as it's adding it up. So you have 2. Of course, the first one is 2 because why is the first one 2? So it is in the first index position, and then it comes here. It comes in the first. Remember, the first I is 2. Then it comes here. It says total. Remember, total is 0. 0 plus 2 is 2. So it prints 2. It loops again. Now 0 is no longer 2. I mean, total is no longer 2, but total is now holds the value of 2. Sorry, total is no longer 0. Total now holds the value of 2. So the next position was 55. So 55 plus 2 is 57. So it prints that out. So that's what happens when you put your system.out in the loop. It keeps printing it as it's looping. It just keeps printing out the total as it's looping. So ideally you want to put that outside if you just want to show the user just the grand total. So if we do that now, we'll see it will just give the user total is 88, because it keeps adding it until it's done. When it's done with this for loop, it just prints out the total. And because the total is not inside the loop, remember the total is, you put it outside the for loop, it just gives you the total out here. Godswill has a question. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So when you
But hello, can you hear
that
me?
is indeed a comment. So what happens is when you when
I
you
noticed
put
something. That
when you use the double slash
comment
in front
feedback.
of any line in a code,
What is the
the
purpose there?
compiler
Does
or
it
the
make that
program will
first
not run
system
that
dot out
line. It will jump it. It will see it
print
as a text.
invalid?
You're just telling the program, don't run this line. So that's what this does. So technically, we use comments to actually document your code. So you can use it to explain. Like when I was learning programming, I still do that actually. But I did it more when I was learning programming. I Sometimes when I write a program, when I come back next time, I forget what I mean or why I wrote it or what even it does. So, for example, if I were you guys and I keep forgetting what this plus equals is, in my code, I'll just come here and I'll just write plus equals is used to add the value on the right side to the actual value of the left side, and store the total on the variable. I'll just put it like this: on the variable on the left side, which is case, in this case, the total. Well, which is in this case, total. Let me just put it like this, total. So this is a comment, but it's for me. So what happens is when you compile it, the compiler will not look at this line. It'll be like, oh, this is a comment. I'm not gonna. It's not a code. This is just a comment. You understand? So when you use double slash, that's what it does. It ignores it. You can also use a different type of comment syntax. So we have the double slash, and we also have the block comment. So that starts with slash and asterisk, and it ends with slash and asterisk. So you can also comment your code like this. So slash asterisk, and then when you're closing it, you do asterisk slash. So as you program, you're going to mostly use the slash asterisk also when you want to, maybe you're testing stuff. So you see, like we wanted to test this line, we just did slash to let it ignore it. So you're going to do that a lot because it's going to make the compiler ignore it. So yeah, so if you're writing code, I would really, especially when you're learning, please use comments because sometimes you might write something. Now that I'm doing it, you remember it. Then later you come back to you like, oh my God, why did I even write it? So you use comments to explain back to yourself, like, oh, I did this, or this is what this does. So that next time when you come back to you, be like, oh, okay, you now read what you wrote. Be like, oh, this is why I wrote it. Okay, that's what it does. So you'll be like teaching yourself later when you come look at your code. So yes, it ignores the line. Any other question? Great. So we're gonna play a lot around arrays. So remember, I just introduced this to you guys now. Fine.
Thank you.
Use either of the two. Of course, I'm sure you guys will jump on this one and use this one most of the time because it saves you time. But don't forget the normal one. Don't forget it. If I were you, I'll practice it a bit because of you can still find that in a lot of people's codes. Secondly, you might also get that in exams. Like you need to know the two ways you can do it. And besides, this way I just did it is it's not in all. If you're running a program in the old Java, it's not gonna work because this was a new upgrade they added to the Java syntax. So if you have a program that is running old Java code, it will not understand what this is. So it's a good idea to know what the two of them are and how it works. And yeah, it's pretty simple. But of course, if you wrap your head around it, please by no means continue to use this. This is simpler. This is more straightforward, and it saves you time. So good. I would like to stop here. I will give you guys an assignment, and we'll try to pick up one or two of the assignments and try to solve it. So let's go to the assignments I'm going to give you guys for this week. Let me just duplicate this, and I'll paste this here. All right. So this is the assignment that we'll be working on. Let me also just print it directly into the chat so I don't forget that. Yeah, I'm coming. All right, let's add this to the chat. Yes, we got it. So let me try to explain what the problem is here. So it says add the following in an array. So we have these names. So I want you guys to add this to an array. I want you to write a I want you to write a Java program that takes an input. So of course you guys use the standard input a lot. Yeah, yeah, what was it again? What did we use for that? I think we have different different ways we've done that so far. Just let me see what most of you used. So we have, of course, we have the buffer reader, and some of you used, I think some others used, let me see what, yeah, Constance used the scanner most of the time. So it doesn't really matter which one you use. You can use the scanner to get your input. You can use the scanner to get your input, or you could use the buffer reader. So whichever doesn't matter. So what you want to do is you want to ask the user to um, so write a program that takes an input. So it um, takes an input and tests if the name is found in an array. So it takes uh, a string. So I could type Darlington. I could type hello. So when you get that input, it should test if that name or if that string that you typed, if it is present in the array, if it can find it. So that means it's going to test that thing you entered. Is it Constance? Is it Darlington? Is it Obi? Is it Sumba? Is it? If it is one of these items in the array, it should print yes found. If it looks through it and it doesn't find it, it should print no, not found. Then the second one is write a program that asks the user to enter a word or a phrase. So the program should ask, okay, enter a word. So the word could be Darlington. The word could be hello, how are you? I mean, then it's going to be a phrase, not a word. It could be hello, how are you? So a word or a phrase. Then ask the user which character they are they are looking for in an index. So maybe this is not very clear. Ask the user which index position uh, they will like to see. So this is probably more clearer. So which index position they would like to see. So basically what I want you to do is the program should ask what index position do you want to find. When the person puts an index position, it's going to say something like, if it was Darlington, if you print index position 0, it will print D. If you print index position 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it will print N if you gave it 5, right? And if it's not found, so this would be an extra. Let me just make this an extra. So you can do this if you can figure it out. So which I think you guys should be able to because we have done something like this before. But so the extra is if someone gives you an index position that is out of bound, that is not here, that does not, yeah, maybe it's not in the index itself, then it should print out uh, invalid. If index out of bound, then print uh, then print invalid index. So this is going to be an interesting one, but please, please, please try to play with it. So this is extra. This is extra. If you just try it out, I would say try it out, really. Try it out. But first of all, make sure you have this one right. When you have this one right, then try to play with this one. Is there any question? Do you guys have any questions regarding the two of them? This two stuff. Is there any question? Or is it clear? Is it not clear? So this one is more. This one is like a. First one is like a database kind of thing. Like, oh, we have a collection of data. I want to find if there's a data is inside of it. You could even make it nicer by making it case insensitive. So now, remember, if you have this and you give me constants with a small letter, it's going to tell you not found. But you could even make it nice that it doesn't matter whether you give it it doesn't matter if you make it a capital, if you make it a small. If the word constants is constants, it's going to tell you found. But that would be an extra. I would say first do it the way you feel you can do it, right? And then if you have more time, you can make it that if someone even types constants with a small letter, it will still find. It will still tell you that it found it. So this is going to be a very interesting one for you guys, at least to start getting acquainted with in arrays before we start expanding. into arrays, because arrays are is a very strong and important data structure that every programmer must know how to use. It's so important. It's almost like the thread or the fabric of almost all programming languages. Because yeah, you need it for a lot of things. Any questions? Raise up your hands if you have questions about this assignment. No, no questions. All right. So let's take a look at the assignment. What I would do is I would try to solve the assignment and then see if we can follow. That way it's also going to be quite fast. I don't want to keep you guys too long. So let me see if I can find the assignment first of all. Let's see the assignment questions. Okay. Um, all right. So let me look for it then in the slide. Yeah, this was the assignment, right? Or am I wrong? Was it this one? Yeah, I thought as much. Okay, so write a Java program that takes an integer as input and prints whether the number is odd or even. So this is pretty easy, hopefully, for most of you. Unfortunately, I
Yeah,
must
this
be
was the
honest, I
assignment.
have not looked through the assignments most of you submitted it. I'm going to do that today. I've been so busy. I'm really sorry about that, but I will look at it. But I'm going to also try to solve it with you guys here so we can do that together. So let's clear this out here. So we're looking if let's see, use the modular. Let's say write a program that takes an integer as input and prints out whether it's an even or odd number. So we're gonna use the scanner stuff. So I'm gonna go look for, I think Constance use scanner. So let's copy her scanner code, which is this part. Let's see. Yeah, that's this. So I can reuse it here, so I don't have to type too much. We're just gonna rename it. So what we're doing here is we are going to take a number. So let's just make this one, just say enter a number. Remember the goal is to check an the goal is to check if the number is odd or even, right? Great. So we're gonna say, gonna call this user number, and instead of next float, we're going to say next int. So now we can use a simple if statement to check if user modulo. Remember, if a number is even, that means you can always divide it by two without any remainder. That's how you know if a number is even. So if you take the number the user put in and divide it by two, if the answer is zero, that means it's an even number. So let's see. Sorry, there should be double equals. So we can now say system.out.print, and we can say this is an even number. And of course, if that's not the case, we can just use an else. I would say system.out.print, this is an odd um, number. So let's make this one scream out a bit, even. So this is pretty much it. So let's give it a try and see how it we go. Run it. So it says enter a number. We'll start with 3. Say this is an odd number. We'll run it again. We'll say 100, and you say this is an even number, and this is just basically any number you can divide with zero, and any number you can divide with by two, and it has no remainder. That is an even number, and if it does have a remainder, that's an odd number. So let's see. That's all right. If the number blah blah blah. Yes. So raise up your hand if you got uh, this problem. If you're able to solve it. Can you guys raise up your hand if you were able to solve this assignment? You okay? Constance. Um. Okay. Constance. Obi. Obi, were you able to solve it? Okay. So.
Yeah, so
Oh, okay. Then
I saw this, but I think in a
okay. I
previous
think maybe am
assignment,
I? I think I'm trying. Am I
I
solving now
don't
the
remember
wrong
this
assignment?
assignment in the last. I don't remember this question in the
Let me
last
see. Let
assignment
me pull
we
one of your assignments in and see.
Yeah, it wasn't added.
Give me
It
a
was
minute.
only
Let
two
me
till
pull
five
in. Let me pull in Obi's
that we
assignment
that we did. That was on the chat group chat.
because it's possible I'm
Okay.
solving the wrong one. Obi. Oh yeah, it is the wrong assignment I'm solving. So I gave you guys weekday, leap year, and last digit or something like that. So that is my bad. All right, let's start with the weekday. Let's see. Sorry, just give me a minute. I'm pulling it in. Assignment 6. All right, so let's pick the first one. I'm gonna open up uh, OB's assignment. So let's see. Did this? Yes, this is it. Apologies for confusing you guys. So we will take. Let me just copy only the main method. All right, so this was what OB made, and the question was, how why am I not seeing the question in the slide? Let me see. Um, did I remove it? Okay, this is not it. And quite interesting. Wow, I think I might have mistakenly deleted the questions. That's quite sad. All right, so who can remind us what the question was? Obi, can you remind us what the question was? I think I accidentally deleted it from the slide. Let me see. I'm trying to get it. I think I posted it on the chat as well, so trying to see if I can fetch it. Oh yeah, I got it. I got it. This is the question. Write a
The
program to
question.
read weekday numbers and print weekday name using the switch statements. Ah, that's great. So let's run this and see.
Yep.
So input a number you find to find out the corresponding day of the week. All right. So if I say 7, it should give us Sunday. Very good. Very good. Very good. This works pretty well. Let's say 1. Okay, and what would happen if I said 0? 0 is Sunday. Is that correct? That's not correct. Okay, you did. Okay, you made. Oh, interesting. Okay. So if I said 7, so 0 is Sunday, I see in your code. But what if I said 7? 7 also still says Sunday. So if I also say, what if I said 9? 9 says Tuesday. So there's something up with your code. And why is that? So what we could do is let's look at let's look at your code. So your code says if it's less than 31. Ah, wow, this is interesting. Okay, so I think Obi, your code is really nice, very nice, but that's not exactly what it's doing something else other than what we really wanted to do, because you see it's taking up uh you're looking at the whole calendar days. You understand? And remember, if you're looking at the whole calendar days, day 7 does not necessarily mean Sunday in a different month. Day 7 could be a different day. So what we are actually looking for is we just want to print out you can let me give you an example. You can write a date like this. We can write a day like this. So we can write today's 20th. um oh, sorry, we can say we can also specify the day of a week by using numbers. So one is could be Monday, two is Tuesday, and so on. And sometimes in the database or in any database, the data, what they want to store there is not a string. They want to just store a day of a week using numbers. So they just want to probably store 1 to 7. And for example, for Saturday, they just want to store 6. But when the user is using the software, or I'm just giving you, like, you have to think hypothetically now. If a user is using that software and there's a space there that says day of the week, if you print 6, sometimes it's not really user friendly. So what actually you want to do is when the number 6 comes, it should change or transform that 6 to the day of the week. So the day of the week actually starts from 1 and ends at 7. So there is no need for you to go to 31 days. It's not about the month, it's just about the day of the week. You want to be able to transcribe a number to correspond to a day of the week. So that's what it's about. So I would expect, first of all, to adjust this code. This is nice. I don't think. Let me see. So, is this the right? This is the right. Is this the right assignment? Because I think we've done this one a long time ago already. Oh no, this is okay. This should be it. All right. Hello, guys. No one is saying anything. Is it? No, no, because I have this assignment here. I just want to know if it's the last one. I think it is the last one. Okay, fine. Because I was this from 3 weeks ago.
It's the
Okay.
it's the right assignment. I think this is number this question four. I think you have question three or
Yeah,
four
I
on the
changed
assignment.
I changed my WhatsApp and I can't. I lost a lot of things, a lot of
It's
No,
the
this
images.
last
one's from
one.
like 3 weeks ago.
Because this looks a little
Oh,
bit like what we've done
Yeah,
like the
before.
Java
this is not the
program.
Let
last
me
one.
see.
I think that
Yeah, this
the
is the
best way to
last
get
assignment.
just maybe
Leap year
check on
checker.
WhatsApp. Just use the one on WhatsApp.
Okay, I think okay. Obi is my bad. I think I just picked up the wrong. I think. Oh,
Oh,
okay. You sent. I see you sent this as well, Obi, but this was a different one. But
I just
fine. This
forwarded
is
the last
this one we're gonna
assignment.
look into. So let me just take up this leap year assignment. We are already running out of time, and just let's see if we can solve it really quick. I see Obi also solved this. Yeah, that is this one. Oh my God, I've been so busy this week, I lost track of everything. All right, let's go. So yes, and Constance just sent me the assignment, and this is what we are checking. So this is the assignment. It says create a program that checks if a given year is a leap year. The rule: a leap year is uh, a year is a leap year if it is divisible by 4. However, if the year can be divided by 100, it is a leap year only if it can also be divided by 400. Use the modulo operator to check divisible by 400 and 400. Okay, so let's see what you did here. Yes. Oh, this is it. This solves the problem, as you can see. So how do we check that? Let's see what you do there. So if we say 2009, so this is not a leap year, all right. And if you say 2024, this is a leap year. All right, great, great, great. So this is pretty straightforward. I think you did this pretty well. And judging from the equation from the question, it says if it's divisible by 4, if it's also divisible by 100 and 400, it is a leap year, and that's exactly what you need the OR operator for. Great, this looks good. So I don't need to do anything to this code. Let me see if I can get Constance on assignment, because I see Constance also sent it hers in. Just a minute. Let me take a look. All right, there we go. Okay, pretty much the same. Very nice. I need no further. I don't need to do anything here. You guys are geniuses. All right, what's the next one? Create a program that checks if a given year is a leap year. Oh, sorry, it's not. This is the wrong one. And I think the next one was write a program that calculates the sum of all multiples of 3 and 5 below 100. So this is also pretty straightforward. Given a number from 1 to 7, print the day of the week this corresponding to. Okay, this was also it. So it is part of the question actually, day of the week. Okay. So being the fact is part of it, let me see if I can fix that. The one I was trying to fix it that Obi did. So let's go back to it. So just to clarify it for Obi as well. So let's see. So Obi, this. Let's see. I understand what you're trying to do here. So, what are you trying to do here? So if it's divisible by 7, I don't think. Are we supposed to use a modulo here? Let me see. Give it a number. Yeah. So this is only you only need you don't really need a modulo here per se. So this will be fine. All you just need to do here is check your date. No, it's actually not date, but you want it to be the day. So you got the date. The person just wants to know what the day is. Uh, in your equation, in your check here, you could actually say if it's greater than 7, because we know the day of the week is never greater than 7, or if actually what we're checking here is not date but day. Oh, am I missing something? Oh, I'm really sorry. Let's check. So let's say, given a number 1 to 7, print the day of the week. of the week it corresponds to. When 1 is Monday and 7 is Sunday. Hints. Use a switch statement or if else statement to map numbers to day.
Yeah,
Think
I think we
about
should read
how
the
you
remaining
might use the
question
modulo
first,
operator
like
to
the entire
create
question before
a
we.
cyclical event,
There's
especially
something at the
useful
end
if the
that maybe we
input
might need to say.
exceeds 7. Ah, okay, okay, okay. All right, so I see why the modulo is there. Think about how you might use the modulo operator to create a cyclical effect. Hmm, especially useful if the input exceeds 7. Okay. How would we do that? All right, so let's do the basic one first, and then I'll see what I'll try to understand what we mean by that. Okay, because now I totally forgot what I meant by cyclical effect. Okay, so but let's go back. So in any case, let's fix this first. So we want to have day if it's greater than 7, or day is less than 1, then you will probably have an else here, invalid day. So this will be from 1 to 7. So yeah, this will probably work. So and also, judging from the question, we do not have a 0 because if you remember, the question says 1 should be Monday and 7 is Sunday, so we cannot have a 0. So rather, we can have a 12. I mean, we could have a 7 here. So that's cool. We have all the whole breaks. So if we run this, if I added an 8 now, it's going to say, oh, it said nothing. How is that possible? So if it's greater than 7, okay, no, that's my bad. That's my bad. So my question here, my condition here is not correct. So it has to be if it's less than 7, less than or equal to, because if this value is true, then it should go into the switch statement. So if you can only go into the switch statement or into the if block if this is true. So as long as it's less than 7 or equal to 7, go in. That's what we want. And as long as this is greater than 1, go in. Or we say greater than or equal to 1, go in. So this will do it for us. So my condition was wrong there. So let's try it again. Go 8, and then wow, that's strange. System.out.print. Okay, let's put a breakpoint and see what exactly is happening here, because I'm also surprised. So we'll put it 8 again, and we get here, and this is false, of course, because I put an 8, and this is also false. So let's step in. Okay, what's going on? Oh, sorry. Now, the problem we have here, oh my, this is beautiful. It's good to have these problems. So you see, it actually stepped into the switch. And of course, it didn't find any match and then it printed nothing. But we don't want it to step into the switch if the number is above 8. So the problem here is the OR, because this first one passes as false, but this one passes as true, because day is actually, which is the variable I put, 8 is actually greater than or equal to 1. So remember, with an OR statement, one of the two sides just has to be true. As long as one of them is true, it will go in. So who can tell me what is the solution to this? How can I solve this? And make sure it doesn't enter into this if it's less than 7 and it's also um, less than 1. Let me see. I think someone is raising up their hands. Let me see. Goswell. Exactly. So let's do that, and that should solve our problem. So it's beautiful to have this kind of mistakes because we learn from it as we go. So you see, it says input only numbers 1 to 7, because when you use the and, both sides must be
Should
true.
we try the
So
and
this part
sign?
must be true, and this part must be true. If any of the part is false, it will not go into the if statements. So now let's try. a happy flow. So we'll say 2. So 2 gives us Tuesday as we want. And we'll try 7. 7 will give us Sunday exactly. So that's beautiful. Let me pull back that question. Just see if I can understand what I mean here. So think about how you might use the modular operator to create a cyclical effect, especially useful if the input exceeds 7. Oh, I can't remember what I meant. I'm really sorry. Ah, all right. Let's see. Let's see what will happen. So Obi had something like this. So let's create a variable and call it tests because I'm curious what I actually meant by that. So we're gonna get the day input and we're gonna modulo that by 7. I think Obi try to do something similar to this, and let's see what this will give us. Right, we're gonna run this again, but this time on debug mode. Stop and run. Okay, no, let's stop it. And we're gonna run. Let me put all of this out. Debug. Oh yeah, I have to input a number, so I'm gonna put 8. So the day is 8. If it's modulo 7, so we cannot do modulo 7 because modulo 7 only checks if it's divisible by 7. Um, yeah, let me see. So this will give you a 1. Yeah, I really can't remember what I was trying to accomplish by that statement. So I will get back to you guys on that. I think that cyclical effect, I have to figure out what I actually meant. So, but yeah, if you did solve it this way, it also works. So that's it. That's all I got for today. I don't know. Does anyone have any question? Yeah, so please do not forget to try out this assignment. Trust me, the arrays is a very, very important is a very important topic. We're gonna do a lot with it in programming. You're gonna play around a lot with it. So please do well to try out this assignment. Um, and Dio is quite new here. Dio, this is Dio's first day in the group. Of course, she sent me a text. She's like, "I'm totally lost." That makes a lot of sense. We've been doing quite a lot, but hopefully you've been seeing. You just saw some new words. You heard some new words. You've seen some codes. If you do go ahead and look through the materials we've done before, you probably will get a sense of it. I would advise you install the program called IntelliJ, or you can contact me if you want me to give you the link. But in the video, you can get the link, but I can also send you the link. You install it on your computer and just I would say just try out some of the code we paste or I paste on the chat. uh, Try to do some of the assignments if you can, and if you can't, just ask, send a question in the chat. I think I added you to the group, or I'll add you to the group. The only way you can learn programming is by trying it and doing it. It's gonna get fuzzy at first, but trust me, if you continue to attend the classes, if you try stuff out, it will start becoming fun. So try to look at it as fun. Uh, I strongly advise don't look at it as you're taking an exam, or don't look at it as yeah. I remember like if we're taking a course in school that you feel like shit, I have to like take this thing to pass. It creates stress, and I feel if you use that mentality to learn programming, it's not gonna be joyful. You're not gonna enjoy it. I suggest let it look like a game. Put it like a game, more something fun. Like, oh, I wonder what this would do. I wonder what this does. I wonder if I'm gonna get an error. I wonder this. I wonder that. If you come from that perspective, I think it's gonna be more enjoyable, more challenging. In fact, every error you get will look like a puzzle. Like, oh, I wonder how can I fix this? You chat out the group and stuff. So yeah, I would recommend that approach because in my experience, if you take that other approach, when you hear the word programming, it just spells stress because you mentally handle it differently. But if you change it mentally and be like, this is a game. This is a puzzle. I wonder how you do this. I wonder how you do. I wonder how can I write a word and do what we call a palindrome, like turn all the words upside down. How can you do that in programming? Like, fascinate yourself with those kind of questions, and let it be a puzzle. And I guarantee, if you look at it from that approach, you would enjoy programming. And then before you know it, it will become a career for you if you're really interested in doing that. So yeah, welcome, and feel free to reach out to me if you need any help. I also sent you guys some interesting things about being a software tester. Some of you also already went ahead to look into it. I don't know when I sent that information. Let me try to scroll up and see if I can find it. Yes. So this is, I think I sent this. This was an actual job opening for a software tester, and you can see here they mentioned some of the exams they need you to be certified for. If you want to be a software tester, you can have either of this. So I do expect those of you that are interested in becoming software testers, you could actually just go online and Google these exams and see what it's about. So we can just Google it, ITSB. So you see the testing certification and yeah, and all of that. And you can read through it and see what it does and what they want. And I think I also sent a job. Let me see, what else did I send in? Yeah, I remember now. I sent in what a test case looks like. Why am I not finding this stuff here? I think my WhatsApp is hiding up, hiding some stuff. Okay, fine. I think it's hiding it, but I think, or was I wrong? Let me check again. If I'm not mistaken, I did send an example of a test case to you guys, right? Um, okay, I did I send it? Yes, I did send the text case. I just don't have it on my phone. I switched. Yes, I switched my phone, so it's just gone. I think it wasn't backed up. Yes, thank you, Goswell. Yes. So this is an example of a test case. This, as a software tester, this is probably what you'll be doing most of the time. Your client or the company you work for might ask you to write a test case. This is what it looks like. You'll be testing a specific feature or functionality in a specific software, and you test different scenarios. And the different scenarios, when you test them, of course, you see
Okay.
here, you explain what you're doing, and then you identify if it passed or not. And if it fails, like you see in this part, it fails, you send it back to the developers and you say, oh, this one fails, and then the developer has to fix it. This is typically what you call a bug in testing. Anytime you test something and it fails or it doesn't do what it's supposed to do, you send it back to the developer and you say you call that a bug. I also sent another one. I think Gus also sent it. This is also another way it looks like. You have test cases having names, and then yeah, and these are the steps you can take to do that, and you specify if it passes or fails. Um, so typically, if I have to give an example, I'll give an example of my website. So if I employed one of you as a tester to test ncat.com, sorry, ncat.com. So one of the tests you can want to test is you want to test, maybe one of the test case will be successful login. So a successful login test will be, you come to the host homepage, you click on login, you type in your I'll say type in your, let me just use one here, and you log in, and if you successfully log in, then this test is a pass. But if you do not successfully log in, then it will be a fail. Then you send it back to the testers. I mean, to the developers. So that is one way you do it. Um, and there's also another layer of it that you call automated testing. Automated testing is that's where this your programming stuff you guys are doing is going to come in handy. So automated testing. So if you're doing automated testing, practically what you do is you write a program that is going to be doing all those clicks for you. And one of the popular softwares you could use for automated testing is called Selenium. Selenium. And Selenium also we can program Selenium using Java. And yeah, with this we can do automated testing. And technically, what that would do is you write a program, and the program will be moving your mouse for you and clicking stuff, and it will tell you if it passes or not. So these are things you can also learn as a software tester, which also will help your what you're doing now. Your programming will come in handy if you want to be a software tester that can also perform automated testing. What else? So I think it's a pretty cool stuff to look into for those that are interested in it. I could be of support to you. Personally, I'm not a software tester, but I've worked in numerous teams where, of course, I worked with different software testers. I know how to write a test script myself. I know how to write. I know how to write, and I have written quite a number of automated tests. But I'm just not a software tester because I am paid to be a software engineer. But I also do software testing when I'm in a team, or I support my testers when they need tests. So that being said, I have not taken any certification exams as a software tester because I am a developer. But I do implore you guys, those that are interested in it, I'm putting this out there for you guys to think about. Should any of you wake up one day and be like, okay, you know what, I want to really pursue the software testing career, um, yes, please let me know on time. And should all of you decide to be software testers, I would start gradually channeling our training to teaching you guys to be software testers. And also, as a software tester, there's a word you also hear a lot, which is called DevOps. Some of you might have heard about it. So DevOps is more, most of the time in the current climate of tech, you'll most likely be working in a team where you work with engineers and they mostly use the practice called DevOps. So basically, is a way of where you have you yourself as a tester and the developers and the operation teams, guys. You guys are probably going to be in the same team, and when a tester tests something and it fails, you quickly interact with the developers, and you mostly use softwares such as. I just want to put this out there so you start hearing names. It might not make sense to you guys, but I want you to start getting familiar with these names. So you probably use softwares like Azure DevOps. So Azure DevOps is an online software where you can log. Do I even have an account here? I don't think I can show an example of this. So Azure DevOps is basically where you can log in the failed test that you did. Let me see. Can I log in so you guys will see how that looks like? Okay, no. Let's cut this out. But there's also another one very popular called Jira. Obi is very familiar with that because Obi works with me and we use Jira a lot. So I can just open that up and you see how that looks like. So this is if you're working in a DevOps team, you'll probably be using a program like this. So I'm just gonna open one of the items. So myself as a developer, these are some of the tasks I'm working on. So for example, I have a task where I'm writing a software where an API has to get the top three popular projects. So what happens is I create what we call tasks. So you see, these are tasks. I've completed this task, but you as a tester, that means let me just scroll down here. I'm gonna add an extra task here. I'll say test test. So if I add test here, then I can just assign this to a tester. So in this case, OB is a tester. So if I'm going to change this to in progress. So as Obi being the tester, since myself as a developer, I'm done with my work, I will just inform Obi and tell Obi, I'm done because Obi is in my team, is in my DevOps team, and Obi will have to move this to the middle, and which means in progress. You see, the middle means in progress. Now Obi has to test this software or whatever feature I built, and if Obi finds a bug or something does not work or like where you see fail, Obi will inform me and say, okay, guy, this actually failed. So I have to come back here and fix it. It could also be that while Obi is testing this particular feature, he finds a different problem. Obi has to come into this board. This is like an Azure DevOps board, and he has to create a new item, which is a bug. So you see, you have here story. He has to change this and say, I want to register a bug. And so maybe he's just testing the login. But while he was testing the login, he now realized that the website cannot load. So he just comes into this board. So this board you're seeing is very similar to that of Azure DevOps. So the idea is the same. So he just create a bug here and say something like, so the title, let me see. He's gonna give it a title and say that says something like website not loading, and he creates it. So when he adds that, let's see, that comes into our page. So this is the bug. So let me see if I refresh it. Everything else. Oh, let's go to the backlog. I think it went to the backlog. So sorry, it went to the backlog. We want to have it in our current sprint. So that means that, oh, sorry, go back to the backlog. So this is the bug he created. And then we can assign, or he can assign this bug to Darlington. I'm like, okay, you are the developer, fix this. This is a problem. So that's what testers do. I'm just giving you guys like very, very high level. But this is basically what you're going to be doing. You're going to be working with teams. You're going to be in a team. You're going to be working with people who use boards like this. So you're going to be testing. If you find errors, you post it. You put a developer's name, or sometimes you talk to the team about it, and then you actually perform tests. It's to me, it's quite um yeah, a junior tester is quite an easy job to get. Like, you just have to learn a couple of things and know the different processes, and you're good to go. So I am really advocating for it. If you guys are interested, the learning curve is a lot shorter. If you really put your head into it, you can become a tester way faster than than you can become a developer. Um, However, I don't know how lucrative a software testing job is in the African countries. I don't personally think there's a lot of it's quite lucrative, but in the Western countries, if you immerse yourself into software engineering, if you also, I mean, software testing, and you learn more about automated testing, um, yeah, the opportunities probably will be endless for you at this current climate. So I'm a little bit out of time. I'm just trying to promote it, so you guys will have some time to look into it if you're interested. If you, however, find yourself to be interested in it, yeah, just let me know and I'll see what I can do. Any questions? All right. So I wish you guys have a lovely weekend. Do not forget to collaborate if the assignments are getting difficult, and I will be sure to get back to you. Or the team is going to help you guys out. All right. Have a good weekend. Bye. Bye.
No questions.